Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. In this video, we will learn about Material 3. Material 3 is the new standard by Google to basically implement a material design UI in your app. So the typical material design that you're probably used to is Material 2, which is the version before this. And now we have Material 3, which comes with a lot of new cool features. So essentially, we're going to build this app here, which will use Material 3 obviously in combination with Jetpack Compose. In this video, in the first one, we will talk about the theory. So about the color theory behind Material 3, which colors you should pick for your app and all that stuff, what each type of theme color represents. Like there's so many different theme colors like primary, secondary and all that stuff. When you should use which, all that stuff will be covered in this video. In the next video, we will cover the actual implementation. So how you can take your existing Jetpack Compose app, migrate it from Material 2 to Material 3 and actually build this simple demo app which won't contain any functionality. So wherever we click, it won't do anything. It's just for the sake of building a UI with Material 3. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about why should you actually use Material 3? Why does that make sense? Why is that a good thought? So on the one hand, Google just migrated most of their apps, or I think even all of their apps, to Material 3, at least in the later Android version. So if you take a look at the Google Drive app, at the Calculator app, also on Pixel devices, then you will see that they kind of use this new Material 3 design. However, a very cool new feature that comes with Material 3 design are dynamic colors. And you already see this here, but you kind of can't really recognize if this is a dynamic color or not. Let's actually see what a dynamic color actually is. And if you have Android 12, so an Android 12 device, you will probably know these dynamic colors. If not, you will probably not know these. Let's take a look at this Calculator app, and you can also take a look at my wallpaper, which is like dark gray and greenish. And if we open the calculator, it is kind of in the same color style. And that's basically what dynamic colors are. So Android will take your wallpaper, or you could also specify your own color, and kind of generate a color theme around that, which you can then use in your app, so that all your apps that use Material 3 will look kind of the same and will be adjusted based on what kind of wallpaper you have. So you have your very own phone theme and all your apps will adjust to that, at least if they use Material 3 and you're at least on Android 12. So if I actually go to my settings here, then we have the wallpaper and style section, which we want to open. And you can see here, these are the colors that were generated from my wallpaper. And we can select these, but we could also choose some basic colors. For example, this kind of light orange. Then my theme will be adjusted to this. And if I then switch back to the Google Calculator app, then you will see suddenly the theme colors of this calculator will also adjust. And that is the concept of dynamic colors. And the same with normal theme colors. We have a dynamic dark theme and dynamic light theme colors. So if I simply switch to light mode here, then in this calculator app, it won't change anything because it only uses dark mode. But if I switch to my own app, this one here that we'll build, you can see suddenly it is adjusted to this color, but in light theme. And if we switch back to dark theme, oops, like here, then it still fits these colors, but it is a darker theme. So that is a very cool new feature of Material 3 that you can use in your app from Android 12 onwards. I will show you how we can build this, how we can make use of these system-generated theme colors that the user basically picked. And I will, of course, also show you how you can make a normal theme. So if you don't want to use these dynamic colors because it might not fit your brand or so, then you can, of course, still have your custom theme colors and disable that feature. But let's just go to the Material Design website. And here I just want to go through this main section here under color system, which just kind of describes a little bit the different types of colors we have. You will notice that we will actually have quite some new colors. I think they talk about that here in color theming. Yes. So those are actually the new colors from Material 3. If you're familiar with Material 2, then you will directly notice that these are quite more different colors that we now have. Like we have a primary, We have secondary, we now have a tertiary color. So if you even want a third color to your main color pool, then you can now do that with a tertiary color. Then if we scroll down a little bit, we see a bunch of error colors. I will of course go through all these here a little bit more in detail, but just that you get an overview. We have an outline color, background color, surface variant. We have inverse surface. We have, no, those are not really colors. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. And if we now go back to this color system, then we kind of see our key colors here. And that is our primary color, our secondary color, and our tertiary color. And you can already see that your primary color is, well, typically something rather bright, something that should stand out, like green, like orange or so, which is typically used for some call to action buttons or so, something like that. Then the secondary key color is usually based on your primary key color, so it's kind of similar, but just a different tone, maybe probably a little bit darker or lighter. So for elements that actually need to stand out a little bit, but not as much as those that have the primary key color. So you should typically not have too many elements on the screen that use your primary color, because then the user is kind of confused where to click, because the primary key color should really indicate, hey, that is the preferred option or the most common option here on the screen. You really might consider clicking on this, dear user. And the tertiary key color is kind of, if you feel like you need a third color, that is quite optional. But if you feel like you need that third color, then you can definitely use that. For example, in the calculator example, you saw that here the AC button to clear the calculator, that is the tertiary color actually. So while this equals button here to evaluate the equation, not equation, the expression, that would be the primary color. And I kind of think that this is actually not a little bit too little contrast in comparison to these other buttons. But that's just the generated colors here. So this should actually stand out the most because it's your primary color. And that's of course the most prominent action here for a calculator to actually perform the calculation. However, the AC button to clear this is also a quite common action that the user should not miss. So you also want to kind of highlight that, but not as much as your primary action. And in that case, the tertiary color makes a lot of sense. So if we then keep looking here on this page, we have our accent colors. So here they talk a little bit more about these three different accent colors, primary, secondary, and tertiary. And for each of these colors, there are actually some other colors that are belonging to that in your theme. So you will probably already know primary and on primary, which is, on primary is kind of the color that you should choose if you want to display a color on your primary color. So let's say you have a floating action button and you have an icon on top of that, then you want to kind of give the icon the color that should be on top of your primary color if your floating action button is actually in your primary color. So if we take a look here in my app, because I have a floating action button there, then let's say that floating action button here would be the primary color. It isn't. I will get to this in a moment. But then the icon color would be on primary because the icon is on your primary color. And that is how you can kind of assign colors to things just using your theme without hard coding these colors. However, what is new in Material 3 in comparison to Material 2 are these so-called container colors. So you'll see we also have a primary container color and an on-primary container color. The primary container is kind of new. So for example, for floating action buttons, we now use this primary container color instead this very bright, in this case it's not bright, but usually the primary color is quite bright, instead of this one. So here in this case, this would be the primary container color of our dark theme, the brown one here. And then this plus, this icon, would have the on primary container color because it's the color on our primary container color. So overall, there are just some new concepts by Google, which elements and which UI components should be emphasized with what kind of strength. Then if we keep looking here, we have some neutral colors, which are, well, for the background, for example, for surfaces. A surface could, for example, be something like a car view, which we also have here. So that would be a surface here that is just on top of your background. Sometimes that's the same as your background color. Sometimes you have something like your own color for the surface. Here they use the same one. We will use a different one. Then again, you have on background, which is the color if you have text, an icon or whatever on your background color, and the same for on surface. And there's actually also a surface variant. So if you want to have a little, some kind of variation of your surface color for specific surfaces, then you can also define another surface color and another on surface color, like on surface variant. If you want to do that, I will show you all the different colors we have here in this tutorial when we get to the next part, then how you can implement that in code, of course. We have some error colors. Well, if you have some errors in your app, which you probably do have, then you can show these here with these, with these colors. You could show an error, like the main error color would of course be red. That is probably always the case. Then you also have like an error container. If you want to display like a dialog that displays your error, then that could have this very light red here. You could have this on error container for your text in that error container. This one, for example, for an icon or whatever. So feel free to play around with that. And we have product specific custom colors. So sometimes you have some branding colors that you really don't want to change a lot with your theme, with the dynamic colors. Like for example, here Google of course has all these typical like orange, green, red, blue from their logo, and they don't want these to change a lot in their apps. So you can also express these custom colors here, for example, for these elements here. And as I mentioned before, we also have so-called inverse colors, which aren't on this page, I think it's on the next one, on color roles. If we scroll down a little bit, then we will see here inverse roles. So you also have inverse surface, inverse on surface, and inverse primary. When do these colors apply? Well, these are very often optional colors, but you can still specify these. For example, if you have a snack bar. So if you have, let's say, a light theme app, or your app is currently in light theme, and you want to display a dark snack bar, which is commonly the case, then you kind of need a color for that, because your normal surface color would be the light theme color. And if you want your snack bar to be dark, then you kind of need the reverse of the normal surface color, which you get with inverse surface, inverse on surface, and inverse primary for call to actions like this one here. But yeah, as I said, that is quite optional. When you need that in your app, you can use that. If not, feel free to not use that. Then what we also see here, surface variant, well, they call it neutral variant. I talked about that already, that we have a variation of the surface color, but we also have an outline color, which is, well, for outlines. So if you have, for example, here, like an edit text field, a text field, then that has an outline, and you could specify a theme color just for outlines. But what is now even more interesting is, how do you actually get all these colors for your app that your app in the end looks good? Because that is not obvious. And if we take a look back here in overview and scroll down, actually not overview, in color system, and here the first tab, and scroll completely down, here you will see kind of what the theory behind colors in Material 3 is. So now we really try to pick our colors based on its tone. So normally you just pick some kind of color that you want to build your app around, which would be this type of green here, for example, this 40. And this 40 stands for the amount of light that this color kind of gets. So that would be the green tone here with 40% of light. Here, if you have 0% of light, of course, it's completely dark. If you have 100% of light, it's completely bright, so it's just a white color. And in between, you have different tones of your green color. And then you can take different of these tones and build your UI around that. So you could have like some different tones of this green for your surface, some different tone for your background, some bright tone for your buttons or so that stands out. And I will actually also show you how you can actually find out these different tones here using a tool, which is called HTML Color Picker. You will find the link in this video's description, of course, which is a simple website. And here you can pick a simple color or paste your color hex code. For example, let's choose this kind of pink. Then at 40, we see our normal accent color. Or you could also pick the even brighter option here at 50% brightness. But here you now see all these different percentage values for the light. So this would be completely white, of course, and in between you have different kind of levels of brightness. And in the next video where we actually implement this, I show you at least what Google chooses for their apps. So they have a sample app written in Jetpack Compose. So what kind of colors or color brightness levels they choose for what kind of surfaces, for what kind of backgrounds, for what kind of UI theme colors and stuff like that in their app, because yeah, and that's something we actually need to implement in code when we actually set up our colors. But just that you've seen this website, I like to use this because it just gives you all these different tones of a color in one go. So colors are really the most important thing to understand with material design. That is really not super trivial, at least, to understand which colors to pick. But of course, apart from colors, we have more things to customize, and that is on the one hand shape, and we also have typography. If we take a look at shape, well, I think that's pretty obvious. So in your app, you might have different types of shapes. For example, no shape would be just a rectangle, extra small with a very minor rounded corners, small, medium, but you could also have very special shapes. Like, I don't know if they have an example here. I'm not sure. Shape scale. Yeah, like this one here, for example. So you could have something like this and specify that in your theme. Let's say you always have specific text messages in a chat app, then you could define one shape for all these text messages, for all incoming, let's say, and you then have a central place where you can change the shape and it will apply to all your code in your code base. But that's already it for shapes. We also have typography, which is a bit more than shapes, but also nothing super difficult. So we just have different levels and sizes of fonts, so different styles, you can say. If we take a look at fonts, probably, then nope, not fonts, type scale and tokens. Yes, that is what I actually wanted to see. So we have different types of text sizes now. So you have display large, display medium, display small. So display would be one group of text styles. Then we have headline, we have title, we have label, and we have body, and that's it. So it starts with really large text, which are called now display, to just show a really large text, which is probably also not super common that you need a text of this size, but sometimes you might use that. Then the next smaller level would be a headline, and for each of these levels, you of course have these three different sub-levels, like large, medium, and small. Before that, they were called like they were only headlines, and they were like H1, H2, H3, like in HTML. But now we have these different levels: display, headline, title, which could be like a sub-headline or so, and we have a label. If you want to have a button or so, then you could use that. And we have body for just normal body content if you have a block of text. So far for the theory, actually. If you then want to learn how you can apply this into practice and how you can migrate your existing Material 2 project to Material 3, then you want to not miss this video, which I will include here when it's out. So either next Sunday or next Wednesday.